Welcome to the Astrology Hub podcast. I'm Amanda Poole-Walsh, founder of Astrology Hub, and your host for our flagship show. We explore the many ways astrology can support you in your relationships, career, health, and personal growth. Thanks for tuning in. Welcome. Wow. Welcome to our 2023 Predictions and Insights panel, brought to you by our new reading platform, Astrologer Connect. All of you in the chat, I am so excited just seeing your names and where you're calling in from. It's amazing. For those of you who don't know me, my name's Amanda Poole-Walsh. I'm the founder of Astrology Hub, and we are so happy you're here. We have astrologer and sacred astronomer Gemini Brett, astrologer, author, and host of Astrology Hub's Star Sign Horoscopes show, Jamie McGee, evolutionary astrologer and herbalist Cameron Allen, Michelle Dench, intuitive astrologer and vice president of NCGR San Francisco, and Nora Rochelle, intuitive astrologer and yogi. All right, let's dive into some big picture questions. So we're starting with the context. Where are we at in a larger unfolding story? And astrology is so good at doing that. We can pan out and look at the big story, and then we can hone in and look at the specific moment in time. So we're going to do both, and we're going to start with that big picture. So we've been through a lot in the last 3 years. I don't need to tell you all that. We've all been through a lot. And I'd love to know if anybody on the panel would like to speak to where we're at in this story of transformation.
I'd love to start that off. It's really important to honor that we are in the context of like a once in 26,000 year happening. And I think this is so often forgotten, that the spine of Gaia, or the world tree, as I like to call it, our rotational axis, the solstices are aligned with the Milky Way. And it only happens like this every 26,000 years. It's long been prophesized as a great turning of the ages, the revelation, the end of the old age, the beginning of the new. So when things get especially tricky, intense, and when the news looks like sci-fi dystopia, just remember that we are going through a birthing process, and there is going to be strangeness and distortion and transformation and all of those things. And it's a good thing for me. I just stare at a globe and try to remember that when the world is crazy hectic. So the last few years, so like the council in Capricorn was really here to restructure the earth. And we heard a lot of words like the new normal, or, from the powers that shouldn't be, I should say. But so much of it is really about like, where is your power? Where are you grounded? Where is your connection? What are your roots? The future wants to, I think, be aligned to how we remember the past, and further back than we can personally remember. So reaching back into our ancestry, reaching back into the voice of the land, and letting that be the collective dream for those who choose to come to this transformation. And what I'll say is a good way is really important. So at this point, we're now being stimulated in a sense to find more personal empowerment to come towards collective freedom. And there's going to be some great challenges there, but some of the opportunities of the past couple of years have been around seeing control structures that used to remain hidden. And now it's about choosing to do something about that.
I love it. Okay, let's do themes of 2023. So when you look at the year ahead, if you were to identify a word or a phrase that encapsulates the energy of 2023, what would it be?
If I had one word for 2023, it would be threshold, because in 2023, Saturn, reality, and Jupiter, faith and wisdom, we're going to be opening up new chapters, but Pluto, renewal and evolution, is going to be giving us a glimpse of a whole new novel. So it's all about what we've said, ending to begin. And in uncertain times like this, our strongest allies are our sacred authority and wisdom. And this is a year where trusting your intuition and leaning into your independence will empower you to clutch faith and courage instead of anxiety and fear. There's a lot of like, let me go my own way, let me think my own way. That's going to give you a lot of faith and a lot of courage. Like think about Mars and that empowerment instead of leaning into anxiety or fear. Like what's going to happen instead of let me co-create, let me go in the direction that I feel called to go in. There's just a lot happening in 2023 that is asking us to step into that point of power. So Saturn moving signs, we're going to get a reward when he leaves one sign and moves into the Pisces sign. There's going to be a lot of questions of faith and what's real when we move into that area. And then we have Jupiter, which is always faith and optimism and wisdom, that inner wisdom that we can work with. So those 2 points are what you think about with authority and wisdom. But, you know, we've mentioned already, we've become accustomed to living in a culture that is all about urgency and reacting, which is natural because we don't know where we're going to land. But in 2023, as we step into this threshold and we look at these cycles that are ending and beginning, these are big outer planets, and there's a lot of personal planets that are having conversations. It's important to take the space to pause and reflect and ground, because if you do this, and if you set intent, you gift yourself with the ability to sense the foreshadowing of the universe, which breaks you out of the echo chamber. It gives you the pen back and you become the author of your life, because opportunities and challenges, they're side by side in every minute of our lives.
Wow, Jamie, powerful. I love what you just said about finding the treasure in the trigger. And then also what you were just saying about everyone's call to action. So let's go to this idea of evolution. So I know that a lot of energy is shifting out of Capricorn and into Aquarius. Michelle, do you want to talk to us more about the astrology behind this need to evolve?
Absolutely. So Pluto has been in Capricorn for the last several years, and there's been a lot of intensity building. And in this year in particular, when we start the year off with a Pluto-Venus conjunction at the late degrees of Capricorn. Then Pluto by March moves into Aquarius and touches 0 degrees Aquarius, just initiating us into an entirely different cycle relative to the Pluto journey. But the big sort of energetic soul push that comes through this year happens in the middle of the year in July, when Pluto in Capricorn, after its retrograde, squares the nodal axis of the moon. And that nodal axis is going to shift from Taurus and Scorpio to Libra and Aries, North Node in Aries, South Node in Libra. This is a really powerful activation of the cardinal cross. So for those who are learning astrology, the cardinal cross is that foundational initiation point of life itself. Aries is the start of the equinox. It's a powerful point where we get to work out Mars, Venus, Cancer, Capricorn, right? These are the foundations of life itself: mother, father, ancestors, home and family, life and career. Venus, Mars, our individual will and drive and desire, and our relationships and our calling for peace and harmony, balance and connection in life. These are really big, and they're also deeply personal. We live on a planet that is designed to grow and evolve with us as human beings. And we also live on a planet where our destruction or our ignorance or our harming directly impacts the planet that we live on. So we have to make shifts both in how we live and how we love, but in also in healing, as Cameron was saying, the ancestral lines, the 10 generations of ancestors that came before and after us.
Michelle, do you want to speak a little bit about Pluto moving into Aquarius for that brief moment? We collected some questions before this event, and a lot of people are concerned about Pluto and Aquarius and the themes around Pluto and Aquarius and what that could mean for us. So I would love a little exploration of that right now, if you're up for that.
Yeah, I mean, I think the concern is a natural part of being human beings and facing immense uncertainty in our humanity. And when we saw Saturn and Jupiter move into Aquarius, when we saw the conjunction of these planets at the late degrees of Capricorn, we all can reflect on what's happened the last several years. We experienced more disconnection, changes, shifts, suppressions. There was nothing that anyone could avoid being impacted by what happened in the world. And at the same point in time, it has changed all of us insurmountably. People who were forced to stay home rediscovered values and desires and goals that they had never had the time or freedom to identify. People being in a new framework for humanity automatically upgrades everyone's mindset. And one of the things that is important to know is that Pluto changes are slow and deep. Evolutionarily, the changes that take place that transform us the most, they don't happen overnight. This isn't a, be afraid of this moment. It's a lean in to the uncertainty of life itself, because if you know that the bottom line is you're going to learn how to love better, you're going to be more of yourself, you're going to be more free in your mindset by going through the rebirth process, then there's really nothing to be afraid of.
When Pluto squared my personal nodes, that's like what I would call my deepest, longest dark night of the soul in terms of transformation. But that's when astrology came into my life. And that's the seeds of Astrology Hub started then. So what you're saying about, yes, it's challenging. Yes, it's not the kind of thing that you wish or hope for. And yet it is the thing that brings you in more deeper alignment to who you are and what you're here to do and what you're here to bring. Awesome. Cameron, did you want to add anything to this Pluto and Aquarius conversation?
Yeah, all that was beautiful. And the Pluto square the nodes, I was feeling like so many things that I was wanting to say in between all of what Michelle said and what Gemini Brett said. And then I just was thinking, so I dropped into my heart. And something that's been coming up in my meditations has just been, because I keep seeing the letters AI, right? AI all the time. And my ancestors were just coming to me and telling me about like the ancestral intelligence that I have within my being, and how all the indigenous technologies that we had from before still exist within me. And how do I go into my heart, and how do I go into my body and activate like the literal electricity that I have in my body in order to use my Wi-Fi system, in order to like do all the things that are reflected in AI, artificial intelligence outside of us, but we actually have that ancestral intelligence inside of us. And how do we like transmute that or tap into that deeper? And that being like a really beautiful thing, especially as Pluto goes into Aquarius and out of Aquarius back into Capricorn, because we have more time we always have time to work with the ancestors. Let's get that straight. But when Pluto was in Capricorn, that was just a calling that was like very, very deep. When we think about Capricorn, we think about traditions. And what tradition is deeper than the literal blood that runs through your vein? That's like the things that are in your DNA, and being able to transmute that, And so that's what I'm feeling into, or the piece that I wanted to share, and just letting everybody know, yeah, we literally have like 70 millivolts in each cell, and we have so many cells in our body. And how do we activate that electricity to like be able to combat anything that could be from Wi-Fi, or like, people say EMF all the time, but we have our own EMF too as well. So how can we learn to be with that as far as what we have and we're capable of, rather than just looking outside of ourselves and thinking how it could be good or bad? It's like, how can we tap into that internally? And just coming into the age of air, it's all about innovation. Also, like Nora was saying, with redistribution, in the age of earth, earth as an element is like very stable, very concrete, and slightly immovable. But then when we bring that into the air, things get decentralized and redistributed. And so that's something that's happening now, whether we look at that from the perspective of a power structure, as far as like governmental levels, or if we look at that from the perspective of just in our families. Like, I'm seeing a lot of people in their families being able to speak their truth more, and like things be more of a round table rather than someone sitting at the head of the table and speaking from that place. So I think that's a really important thing to think about as far as where we're at in time right now.
Love it. Okay. Nora, what would you have to say about Jupiter entering into Taurus?
Oh, well, I'm very excited to see Jupiter's influence after having the North Node there, and then also Uranus. Like, I think we've woken up so much to what we really value. And I think maybe sometimes Uranus shows like, well, this is what I don't value, or like there's something that's disrupting me that is actually irritating me to the point of understanding my values a little bit more. So I'm really excited also for the Jupiter conjunct the North Node that's happening June 1st. It really feels like the spring into early summer. It's like we get this opportunity to actually, exactly like you said, Jamie, plant those seeds, but in such accordance with our values. Like, we've already been working on this. And I think it all ties into that self-trust piece and the self-validation piece of like, well, what I value is valuable. And somebody outside of me might not fully be able to validate that because they have a different opinion, they have a different purpose, they have a different path, because Taurus is self-reliance, resilience, and also you cannot sustain what is not yours. So if there's a whole lifestyle and goals and values that you have that somebody else told you that you should have, and maybe that's your path to success or that's your path to abundance, but it's not coming from within, it's not going to work, it's not going to stick around forever. And it's really cool too, because Jupiter's, when he enters Taurus, he's going to be also retrograding only back to 5 degrees. So between 5 and 15 degrees Taurus, that's going to be the hot zone of Taurus. That's getting this amplification energy for longer time than maybe some of the other parts of the sign. So, but he's not going back into Aries. It's like a flying through Aries and then just staying in Taurus and doing his retrograde there. So there's a lot of emphasis on really rooting deep. And I definitely think of the 7 of Pentacles card. Speaking of Taurus, it's like, he's leaning over his staff, looking at like, oh man, this is hard, but it's worth it because I want it. And also, even it's almost like I used to do tree planting, for example, and there were like 12-hour days and my hands were hurting. I kid you not, I put plastic bags on my feet once because my shoes were soaking wet, and then they were maybe I shouldn't go too deep into that imagery, but it was so hard, but it felt so good. And then coming back a year later and seeing how much the trees had grown, it's such a deep satisfaction when you can actually witness the earth alignment with your values. So it's kind of like, think about the long game here. I love what you said about legacy, Jamie. Couldn't agree more.
Okay. I think from what I'm hearing, from what both Jamie and what Nora just shared, getting clear on those values in this first part of the year is really important, so that when you're planting those seeds for the future, those seeds are aligned. They're little capsules of your values that are getting planted into the ground. And then what I'm hearing you say is be in it for the long haul. Like, this isn't going to be a quick manifestation of like, boom, all my dreams come true. And also I find this really helpful when you're not totally clear on what to do. Getting clear on your values and allows the universe to fill in the how and what. Astrology Hub for me is an example of that. I knew I wanted to be of service. I knew I wanted to be passionate about what I was doing. I knew that I wanted to use my unique gifts and talents, and I wanted to wake up excited to do it every day. I had no idea what that would be, but just being clear on those values then made it so that it got to be what it is. So I think that what I'm hearing from you is that process right now is really important for people. Okay, so now without further ado, we are going to introduce our mystery guest who has been sitting patiently backstage waiting for her chance to come on and talk to us about 2023. So now announcing our mystery guest. Can we please bring her on screen? Stormy Grace. Yeah. Welcome, Stormy. We're so happy that you're here. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being a part of this. Thank you for being so patient behind the scenes. Would love to hear, I know you've been listening, so I'd love to hear your insights on 2023, what you feel the theme is, where you feel the biggest opportunity for people is. What would you like to share here?
Yes, thank you so much for having me. First of all, I love this. I think I've done this the last few years, and I get excited about it because it's such a great time and place to hear, what's coming up in the year from really fantastic people. So I have loved everything that has been said by everybody. It's kind of hard to come in behind everybody, actually. I'm like, just do that. All of that sounded fantastic. But I have to echo so many of the themes that we were already talking about. And I'd love to first jump in with the idea that coming into 2023, just in general, maybe this won't resonate with everybody, but it definitely did with me, is that we're coming in with both Venus and Mercury in retrograde, we're coming with Mars and Mercury in retrograde. And it's these signatures that we saw with the Venus retrograde as we began 2022. So it's very much so this idea as we're coming into 2023. I remember when I was having my children and, I'm in active labor, we're going to get some people here. And the doctor would keep telling me, don't push. And I'm like, are you kidding? Like, I'm trying to get people here, and so we're coming in with some of that energy where it is like, yes, you're getting revelation. Yes, it is happening. Yes, clarity is coming around, but don't push yet. You're not ready. We're not ready just yet. And that's okay. And that's a place that as we're coming into 2023, I really want to hold the energy and create the invitation for everyone to understand it doesn't have to happen tomorrow, nor will it. We're working with a lot of earth and water energy. We have got to cleanse our minds, cleanse our spirits, cleanse our beliefs. A lot of things we've been doing in the material world, our bodies need a break. And our values were really very reset under those Capricorn signatures as well. So figuring out as we're slowed down and we're not allowed to push forward, what do I even value to take into 2023, I think is a really, really big deal.
Well, and I think you're bringing up something really important too, that our values for a lot of us have changed, have shifted, and or have crystallized through this last period. And things that we used to value, it may be like, I don't value that much anymore. I'm different. Things have changed. So again, you're reiterating this theme of getting clear on those values and not trying to think that everything needs to happen all at once. Like, there's a patience that is needing to be cultivated. Okay, perfect. All right, I'm going to do a quick recap and then we will close up. Okay, so basically, we all of us here, we are way showers. We are in the midst of a huge collective transformation. Remember that when you're feeling like things are funky and weird, you are a way shower. You came here at this time. You are aware of the energies. I mean, a lot of people are totally unaware of the greater context of what's happening, but not you. So you're a way shower. You're here to actually do things differently. What change do you want to bring? If you've become an outsider, just getting kind of more comfortable with being an outsider and not necessarily needing to fit in, that valuing adaptability over stability would be a very wise thing to cultivate at this point. And we're entering into a new chapter. A new is being written, and we have this opportunity to be the authors of this new chapter and novel. Evolution is required, though. We actually have to change. We actually have to be uncomfortable and hit and meet that growing edge. Vulnerability is strength. We are revolutionizing Romeo and Juliet. We are writing a new story to that. We are not allowing a miscommunication to be the death of us. We are not allowing differences to be the things that keep us apart. We're writing a whole new storyline around that. Tensions with tradition, amplification, and what are you amplifying? So being very mindful of where your attention is so that you're amplifying the things you actually want to see more of in the world. We talked about faith a lot. And then Stormy brought in faith and trust, which is great. And she brought in the distinction between those two things. And a lot of that has to do with actually taking action and doing the work and showing up, and then you can have faith and trust, not just faith. Okay, we're moving beyond the threshold of confusion and entering. We are moving beyond the threshold of confusion. What's the second part of that thing, Cameron? Beyond confusion and something about disillusion.
Clarity through disillusion.
Perfect. Okay, clarity through disillusion. That's right. So everything that, a lot of things that we have thought were stable, or leaders that we thought we could trust, or authorities outside of ourselves that we thought were there for us, we're seeing a lot of that dissolve, but that's actually where our clarity is going to come from that disillusion. Find the treasure in your trigger. So the things that you get super inflamed about, what's the treasure in there for you? What's the nugget for you? Is there something that you want to stand up for? Is there some action you need to take? Is there some direction that is giving you? Okay, power to the people. Stay true to yourself. Use your own artificial intelligence, which actually isn't artificial, but I love that. Your own AI, your own technology, the technology of your body, the technology of your intuition. Transmute or tap into deeper. I think that's our own AI. Legacy ideas. Do you have any ideas that you want to bring forth that can really be about leaving a legacy? We talked about this on our team call the other day, how one time I was in a coffee shop and I overheard this person talking very excitedly about this sandalwood forest that he was planting on this island on Maui. There used to be sandalwood forests on this island, and one of the kings gambled them away. And so then all the sandalwood trees were gone. And there's a group of people that go up there and they plant the sandalwood trees. And one of the things he said that just struck me was, I will never see the sandalwood forest. Like, it takes a long time for these trees to grow. But what I loved is how excited he was to do it, how excited he was to plant the seeds. So we're doing that right now. We're planting the seeds of legacy for other people to benefit from. And there's such a beauty in that. Okay, wow. Cameron brought in our thyroid and our metabolism and increasing the heat in our diet. Don't push. So if there's things that you're wanting to do, this isn't the time to like feel that I'm pushing. We're letting things to gestate and cultivate and marinate. Seek out different groups and tribes, and be aware of how you engage and steward technology. Who do you serve? Stay in that lane. And cultivating faith that comes from direct experience. And then Stormy brought in faith, action, and how those things need to go together to actually build trust in ourselves. Little actions build faith and trust. Simplicity, mastering intuition, generating evidence, hold what is valuable, a lot around our values, and then art and creativity, having a place this year. So those are some of the things that I took away. I'm sure you all have your own notes. I have to say thank yous. I need to say thank yous to all the people that made this event happen. I love how effortless it looks. Like, we just show up and we have a conversation, but to put on an event like this takes months and months and months of planning and preparation and doing the day-to-day things. And the Astrologer Connect platform, all of the people on our team, all of the developers, all of the intention and implementation and action that went into building this platform. You guys, we've been working on it for years, and it's finally here. So this is so exciting. I need to thank the team that has made this all happen. Anna, Zaharia, Laura, Joe G, Jamie, Courtney, Sai, Jessica, Amy, and Erica. Those are the Astrology Hub teammates who are working behind the scenes tirelessly to make all these things happen. I want to thank Brett and Nora and Cameron and Michelle and Jamie and our mystery guest Stormy for being here tonight and for sharing their wisdom. And I want to thank Joe G, Bear, Clarissa, Andrea, Taylor, and Claire, who are on the phones and ready to take calls from all of you now. So if you walk away from this event going, yes, this was super helpful, and I have some more questions about how I am meant to show up for this, I want to have more clarity on my values or my mission or the thing that I'm here to steward and the legacy that I'm here to make. And maybe the romance that might be in the cards for me in 2023. Whatever your questions are, the astrologers are standing by and waiting. So you can either get on with them instantly right now, or book a reading for the future. But either way, they're here for you. They're here to be your guides. Thank you so much to all of you amazing astrologers who have put your faith in us and who are showing up on this platform. And really, we're revolutionizing the way that people access astrology because this hasn't been done before. All right, take care, everybody. Thank you so much for showing up. We'll see you soon.
Do you feel like this episode ended a bit too soon? Well, the good news is that this was actually just a compilation of the best moments from Astrology Hub's 2023 forecast. And you can still watch the whole entire thing for free. It's a 3-hour panel with the panelists that you just watched, plus an in-depth breakdown of the year for each zodiac sign. And to watch, all you have to do is go to astrologyhub.com/2023. And also, just major perk, if you go watch the forecast replay right now, you also get access to Astrology Hub's new reading platform, Astrologer Connect, your one-stop hub for quality astrology readings. So I'll see you guys there.